kind of joined forces and finished in a manner that gave us something that we were proud of. Being a division champion is important to our program. Our playoff opportunities, we took advantage of one, we didn't take advantage of the other one. But we're very positive and looking forward to what's coming up.
Regardless of what happens in the offseason, one area with lots of youthful promise is the defensive backfield. Between Earl Thomas, Cam Chancellor, and Walter Thurman, there's a lot of young talent back there.
Earl will make a tremendous amount of improvement. He had an exciting first year, but he left a lot out there that he can improve on that undoubtedly is going to come together, and he's going to be a fantastic player for us. I think Cam Chancellor is really, really a big-time prospect for us. He did marvelous stuff for us in the kicking game. He's huge, he's fast, he's tough.
Say it ain't so. An NFL lockout and no football next season. Players and owners are still battling it out. Another meeting with federal mediators is planned today. If no resolution is reached, which no one is really counting on, the Players Association is vowing to move ahead with plans to decertify the union. Now, if it does that, the owners can't lock out the players, and the whole matter would go to a judge instead of the bargaining table.
Will he be back? Won't he be back? Apparently, an offer for a contract was extended to Matt before the lockout. There was no deal. There was a report that he's definitely interested in going back. Who knows? He can't be open for business. Now, we don't know if Hasselbeck's going to return. I think he wants to. He's been there for a long time. Mm-hmm. He's got roots there. His family lives there, clearly, right?
That's his town.
So what do they need to do in Seattle?
The quarterback is be in a position of uncertainty right now. Do you guys view it as something that needs to be addressed?
Well, yeah, it was from the very beginning of the offseason, and it continues to be. Sure, it's a crucial spot. So, but we're on it, and we're just going to have to work with the timeframes that we're allowed.
Out of Seattle, there's a lot going on with veteran players. Not at the moment, obviously. They can't have contact with those players, but the wheels are spinning with Pete Carroll in the front office, and he's made some decisions about what to do with some of his key veteran leaders. In the case of Matt Hasselbeck, we thought he was going to be re-signed shortly after the season ended, but now it's looking like more and more of a long shot that Hasselbeck comes back in Seattle. The problem is we assume there will be a salary cap of some kind. He's going to be expensive, and they're just not sure what they can get from him. He looked great towards the end of the year. They don't know what to do with Charlie Whitehurst, and they may very well end up drafting a quarterback high in this draft. So now we'd say it's less than 50-50 that Hasselbeck will be back. Also, a couple veterans who will be back, Lofa Tatupu, Marcus Trufant, two of the better players on that defense. They will be back. Both started every game in 2010, but both have actually seen diminished skills and a lot of wear and tear on their bodies, and they have big contracts that are heavily back-end loaded. Look for the Seahawks to ask both players to restructure their deals, and if they don't, they could be salary cap casualties. Now, Tatupu had both knees operated on immediately after the season for the second time. Successful surgery, as near as we can tell, but he's been around a while and he's taken quite a beating and may have lost a quarter step. Marcus Trufant, like Tatupu, actually started every game in 2010, but suffered a couple serious head injuries, especially the one that ended his playoffs early in Chicago as he was taken off the field on a backboard. These are players that are important in the locker room to Pete Carroll. They can still be productive, but if they won't take big pay cuts, then they might not be Seahawks in 2011.
In September, fans of the National Football League may feel as much pain as the players themselves. That's if there's no football being played.
The absence of an agreement is a shared failure, and I think they should be disappointed.
After 16 days of talks, both sides of the country's most popular sport failed to resolve a heated labor dispute. So at midnight, the NFL's owners locked out their players. The players' union dissolved itself, which allowed 10 players led by star quarterback Tom Brady to file an antitrust lawsuit against the league and each individual franchise.
Whatever trust that we would hope would exist, it doesn't appear to be there anymore.
The issues include extended health benefits for players, limits on rookie pay, and perhaps the sharpest disagreement, how to slice up the league's $9 billion annual revenue. The owners, who now get more than $1 billion off the top before dividing the rest with the players, want more. They say to build stadiums and grow the game.
Their argument to the players is, hey, when we grow revenue, everybody makes more money. The players are looking at that math and saying, we're not so sure we think so.
At the moment, the effects of the stalemate are minor. There will be a draft in April, but no new contracts, no practices, and players who only get paid during the season will now have to pay their own health insurance.
Nobody is under real financial threat until September, and I think that's when we'll find out who's got the real leverage.
The next step is court, where a judge will decide whether the league can go ahead with the lockout. If so, an NFL season could be in jeopardy for the first time since 1987.
Let's go in the Lexus War Room up in the Pacific Northwest. So much went down in the Seattle draft room last year. I mean, they were active in Pete Carroll's first draft as a head coach for the Seattle Seahawks. They're at 25, and a lot of people think maybe they go quarterback here.
With the 25th pick in the 2011 NFL Draft, the Seattle Seahawks select James Carpenter, tackle, Alabama.
How about that?
So you just saw Nick Saban go. James Carpenter, he got selected, and he went before
Look at the Bama
Mark
guy.
Ingram. Wow. Nick was surprised.
Third day in the draft, we got 2 and 10 coming up right off the bat, which will be really cool for us. We want to get faster. We want to find guys that are going to make this roster more competitive. We think we have worked really hard on this lower end of the board to do just what we're staged to do here, to have a bunch of picks here and make a lot of noise with it. There's a number of spots we'd like to hit on. It'll be kind of varied as you'll see it happen, but we're very excited about our chances.
6 of those 7 picks were defensive players. Linebacker K.J. Wright was at his graduation at Mississippi State when he got the call from
Mississippi State outside linebacker K.J. Wright. Wright has excellent size and a projectable frame with long arms and overall body length. This experienced 3-year starter drops smoothly into coverage, and he's very aware in zone. However, Wright has average speed, limited knee flexion, and he lacks bulk strength at the point of attack. Wright is a well-built, long-levered linebacker who teases with starter-caliber length, movement skills, pass rush potential, and coverage skills, but has yet to put it all together and clearly looks most comfortable moving forward.
With the 154th selection in the 2011 NFL Draft, Seattle Seahawks have selected Richard Sherman.
Richard Sherman played college football at Stanford, but before, he played wide receiver and defensive back in high school, and also excelled at track and field. He was a 3-star wide receiver recruit before he decided to commit to UCLA, but later flipped to Stanford. Sherman played wide receiver for his first 2 years at Stanford, recording over 1,000 yards over the span. Then, 4 games into his 3rd season with the Cardinals, he suffered a season-ending knee injury. He was granted a redshirt year. Sherman requested to make a switch over to cornerback after his injury, a request that was granted by the team. He went on to have a successful final 2 seasons of his collegiate career, making over 100 tackles in the span. He wasn't a highly sought after prospect coming out of Stanford. He wasn't originally selected to play in the 2011 Senior Bowl, but was later named a replacement after an injury. He deflected 2 passes in the game and was expected to see a jump in his draft stock. He participated in all drills at both the NFL Combine and Stanford's Pro Day. Sherman was still a for sure day 3 cornerback and wasn't believed to have the tools to become a starter in the league. His scouting report stated, Sherman is a size prospect with some good intangibles that will help him mold into a contributing backup corner for a press-heavy team. However, he does not possess the natural coverage instincts, fluidity, or burst to be considered a future starter. Sherman watched the draft from home with family and eventually was taken with the 154th pick in the 5th round of the 2011 NFL Draft by the Seattle Seahawks. He was reportedly livid watching the draft, seeing players he believed were inferior to him being drafted over him. Luckily, he wouldn't have to wait long to prove every team wrong.
To come back today and to get all of the athletic things that we wanted to get done and upgrade our speed, upgrade the kind of athleticism that we bring to our team and the style of athletes that we brought. Richard Sherman is 6'2½". This is a big, tall, long, athletic kid. I've known this kid since he was in high school and know what his background is and know his smarts and his attitude and all of that. And he's a wonderful kid that can play for us, and I'm real excited about that one. It's interesting that we were able to get 2 big corners along with Richard. Byron is a big stud corner that makes hits and tackles and plays very well at the line of scrimmage. Both of these 2 guys for us are press corners, and so we think that that's really going to help us and add to the competitiveness of it. And so it goes on and on. And Malcolm is a kid that I tell you that this is one of the best athletes at his position in the draft. Malcolm had a very up and down career. He was banged up. He was sick a couple years ago, missed a bunch of games. But when he finally got right, and you saw him play against UCLA and Notre Dame in the biggest games of his college career, he played lights out. And again, you know, I've known Malcolm, of course, since he was a young kid coming up, you know, through Stevie and the family and all of that. And I trust that our information on this is right on the mark about what he can become. So we're real excited about this bunch of guys, and we think we have found guys that fit what we're looking for.
I'm Emory Hunt, the czar of the playbook, bringing you my draft grade special for the Seattle Seahawks. We're going to take a look at their draft and see how well they did this past weekend.
The Seattle Seahawks suffer from a lack of depth on their roster. In this draft, a lot of people want to pan it as a bust, but I look at it as they built a lot of depth throughout their team, getting a lot of solid backup players in this draft, and that's always going to prove to be crucial when you play in the NFL and you have 16 games. The war of attrition is usually the team that ends up winning the Super Bowl. You look at James Carpenter, big offensive lineman, and John Moffett, another very solid player. Now, what I like most about the Seahawks draft, again, James Carpenter, this guy out of Alabama, very dominant, very light on his feet, got good hands, very solid at the point of attack in the run game, and has good pass protection. He may kick down as a guard, he may play tackle, but he does have that type of versatility, and it will help out that Seahawks offense.
Seahawks get a C for their draft grade. I just don't think they did a great job of adding impact players. I do like that they addressed that offensive line, so building depth throughout their team is going to be crucial. I love the Mark Legree pick. Should be a sleeper for the Seattle Seahawks.
Huge momentum for the Seattle Seahawks at the end of the season, right? And then what's your next opportunity to build on that momentum, Seattle? The draft. This is your opportunity to build on it. And I'm here to say you absolutely whiffed. You know as well as I know this can be very hard to re-sign Matthew Hasselbeck. And you, in my opinion, one humble opinion, absolutely whiffed on today's draft, especially when you know Hasselbeck's going to be hard, almost impossible to re-sign, and you don't get Andy Dalton. I am blown away, and it hurts because I truly, truly love that organization. Some of my finest memories are in Seattle, and this hurts to watch.
They had holes at 4 spots. They needed more than just 2. They got 2 guys that I think can help them. I think there were some reaches, no question, maybe some missed opportunities, no doubt about that. I agree. Trent, I think it was a draft that's not going to help this team stay where they are, which is a playoff variety, and who ended up beating the New Orleans Saints, the defending Super Bowl champion, in that playoff game, and prevented St. Louis in that play-in game from getting in with Sam Bradford.
It's a strong statement by Trent. I understand exactly what he's saying. I think they got some good players, Seattle did, but every single one of these picks, I do believe they could have gotten a better player at each one of those spots.
Yep.
So you basically are agreeing with him, just saying it a little more subtly.
We're grateful for all the work that both parties did to make sure that we came to this day today, and make sure for the fans that we can sit in here and say, football's back.
Hi, I'm Hub Arkish for Pro Football Weekly, along with our senior editor, Eric Edholm. And Eric, to quote both Roger Goodell and DeMaurice Smith this time, football is back. There is an agreement between the players and the owners. There are a lot of timelines still coming out. There will be details that come out in the next couple days about what the final agreement looks like. But what we do know is that on Tuesday, July 26th, doors will be open at training facilities for players to report. Teams may sign their own drafted rookies and undrafted rookie free agents, and they may begin negotiating not only with their own veteran players, but with veteran, unrestricted, and restricted free agents from other teams. They cannot sign contracts with those players until 6 o'clock Eastern Time on Friday, but the Wild Wild West officially begins at 10 o'clock Eastern Time on Tuesday, July 26th.
It's going to be interesting, too. One other thing I want to add, too, Hub, I've learned that players have a grace period of 1 day when they report, so there is that little 24-hour lateness period they can do as well. It's going to be awkward. Some players are going to be able to report to camp, and they could be cut the next day, so we could have some guys showing up and then be released from their team. So very interesting, wild stuff, like you said. The experienced teams will know how to handle this. They'll know how to steer the ship through this crazy period.
Matt Hasselbeck agreeing to terms with the Tennessee Titans. It's a multi-year deal, so he's being brought in. Of course, they have Jake Locker in-house, and to talk about what all this means for the Tennessee Titans, we fire up our phone lines, and let's begin with the big storyline. Mike, Matt Hasselbeck signing with the Tennessee Titans, or agreeing to terms with the Titans. Your thoughts?
I think the Titans got their man. That's who they targeted. I think they're very excited to get this done. This was the biggest need they have in free agency. This, I think, provides a settling effect because this is a guy who's won, and there are certain players in the NFL that are just pros. And from wherever you stand, you admire those guys. You say, that's a guy who does it the right way. Throughout his career, Matt Hasselbeck has always been known as a guy who did it the right way. I was a Matt Hasselbeck fan from afar for that reason, and I think this locker room, somewhat in transition, needs that kind of guy.
Matt Hasselbeck, the winningest quarterback in their franchise's history. But I think, Warren, we all know what he meant to this franchise, to this community, but at the same time, because of this accelerated, unique, crazy offseason, they really had to go in a different direction.
Yeah, Matt had a very good run here in Seattle. 10 years in one place, that's kind of unheard of sometimes in the National Football League. He was a great player on the field, taking this team to their only Super Bowl. Also, he was a great ambassador for not only this city and this organization, but also for the league. So Matt Hasselbeck is going to end up in good hands. He's in Tennessee right now. He'll get a chance to keep playing football. But like you said, with the changes that were made in the organization, the short amount of time to work with Darrell Bevell coming over as the offensive coordinator, it was just time to move on and turn that page.
Tuesday is the first day of NFL free agency as teams can start talking to players. While it was a little slow early on, starting to hear some news of players moving teams. We start with the Seattle Seahawks. They seem to have at least partially figured out their quarterback situation. Matt Hasselbeck gone, in Tavares Jackson. Kind of a surprise to me.
A little bit of a system shock for a lot of Seahawks fans who are just used to seeing Hasselbeck under center. Well, get used to Tavares Jackson or Charlie Whitehurst. We can't forget he's part of that equation. They gave up a lot to get him. Offensive coordinator Darrell Bevell is very familiar with what Jackson could do. I've always personally felt like he got a bit of a raw deal up in Minnesota. Athletic rollout quarterback can hit the guys out of the pocket.
Jackson gives them the opportunity to compete right away because he knows Bevell's offense, he understands what Bevell's looking for, and he gets the opportunity to play and show everybody in Minnesota that he is truly a legitimate starter.
So Rice is going to leave Minnesota. He's going to join a former teammate to Tavares Jackson. It's a 5-year deal that he agrees with. This according to Jay Glazer. So Sidney Rice is leaving Minnesota. He had a career 4 years, 146 catches. We figured it was either going to be a Seattle or stay with Minnesota. But now Sidney Rice has set the market for wide receiver.
Former Vikings receiver Sidney Rice now getting used to his new team. Are you getting settled there in Seattle? How are you adapting to life in the Pacific Northwest?
Yes, everything's great. Came out last Friday, fit right in with the team. Everybody welcomed me, and I'm glad to be here. It was a couple of teams in the mix. It came down to Seattle and Minnesota, and this is where I wound up at. I know the playbook. I'm comfortable with Darrell Bevell's offense and Tavares Jackson as well.
Yes, to visit with you guys. We haven't really had a chance to sit down since you guys are at camp, and just find out what's going on. You know, how's it going for you? What's been happening?
Everything's good. Out here at training camp, grinding every day. When I first got here, I was kind of surprised at the tempo, but now it's became a mindset for me, and I kind of understand where it's heading. And I feel like with the tempo that we have here, nobody else has that tempo, and it carries you right over into the game. So I'm excited about that.
Good. How about you, Habib?
Good. You know, just trying to get comfortable. You know, with everybody. Got a lot of new faces. Just trying to learn, you know, guys' skill set. You know, as far as the receivers and stuff go, as far as where they like the ball at, thrown, and how quick they can get in. You know, in and out they break. You know, I pretty much know Sidney, so. Try to stay away from him as much as possible, you know, like right now, so I can get comfortable with all the rest of the guys. But it's been a smooth transition, really. You know, it's fun coming to practice every day. It's not, it's a mind as far as like it's game day every day, but it's not that uptightness about, you know, everybody's not all uptight. Everybody's out here having fun, and that's make practice go by kind of fast.
Then your personal opinion, and only your personal opinion, do you think that he was wrong in leaving instead of taking a $2 million pay cut?
It does not surprise me at all that he decided to leave. I don't know if I would say he was wrong. I think he's still a starting quality linebacker in this league somewhere. He's obviously having a little bit of trouble finding a job that fits him the way he wants it to.
Yeah.
But, Lofa can still play when he's healthy. And he's had a couple rough seasons with injuries the last couple of years. He had a torn pectoral in 2009, played every single game last year, but was dealing with, knees that were not the healthiest and had to have surgery on both of his knees over the off season. And so, there was reasons for both sides to want to go separate ways. They wanted him to take a reduction in pay because of the fact that he hadn't really proven a whole lot the last couple of years due to injury. He hadn't played as well as they would have liked him to play. And he obviously feels that he's going to be back to the level that he can play at, and he didn't want to find himself buried on the depth chart behind somebody he thinks he's better than. So I completely understand why they both decided to make the decisions they did, and I don't begrudge Lofa for making that decision.
Let's talk about Pete Carroll. Certainly has people talking in Seattle. What has he brought to the town of Seattle?
Well, winning, for one. Even though it was just a 7-win season a year ago, he got them in the playoffs and they won a playoff game. That was something they hadn't seen in a couple of years. The previous general manager, Tim Ruskell, had really run the team into the ground from a talent perspective. Him and John Schneider have really worked hard to overcome that. I think the number is there's only 16 players left on the entire 90-man training camp roster that they inherited when they took over the team about a year and a half ago in January. So they've really cleaned house hard over the previous, 17, 18 months or so.
Go back to Seahawks.com, Tony Ventrella with our player profile, and today it's Doug Baldwin, and I want to talk to you, Doug, for a lot of reasons. First of all, home is Pensacola. How did Stanford happen? Here you are all the way on the East Coast, a lot of possibilities out there. Why that choice?
One of the guys who worked at Stanford, his dad actually works at a newspaper in Pensacola, and he'd watch the games and told them to come and check me out. And they were the only D1 school that actually recruited me. So
3 miles. The bridge from Gulf Breeze to Pensacola in Florida is 3 miles long, and it connected 2 different worlds for a young Doug Baldwin.
I lived here in Gulf Breeze, which was predominantly white America, and then my mom, she worked at the Salvation Army in Pensacola, and I would always go over there, and I played all of my Little League sports over there, and that was predominantly black Americans.
The fastest kid I ever seen in my life, but he didn't like contact, and Doug just didn't want to play. He didn't like the helmet, or it was too hot, and, just give his mother credit. He quit, and she said, "You're not quitting. You're going right back out there. I don't care what helmet he gets. Coach, give him any helmet."
It was a life lesson. Nothing's easy. Anything worth it is not easy.
At first, just looking at him, nothing special about him. Doug, he won't be denied. If you tell him you can't, then he proves that he can.
On those fields is where I fell in love with football. I fell in love with the sweat, with the grind, with having a team, and then being held accountable not only to myself, but to people around me.
Football also was a bridge, connecting Baldwin's 2 worlds.
I would always tell Doug, you're going to be in such a position of leadership because you're going to understand everybody. People in Gulf Breeze are not going to ever understand the inner city, and the inner city's not going to understand Gulf Breeze. These kids have never crossed the bridge.
Yeah, it's 3 miles long, but to a lot of people over there, it's like a barrier.
I grew up on both sides of the fence, but I was never really or truly accepted on either side because of the time I spent on the other side. I kind of drew back from my relationships, and the only relationship I really kind of held on to was my little brother. He's my heart.
Baldwin was 13 when his brother Devin was born. Despite the age gap, the two have a unique bond.
Just spending time together just is awesome. He calms me down when I'm mad or I'm sad. He's there for me, and that makes me feel really good.
Baldwin earned a scholarship to Stanford, but after receiving limited playing time, and catching only 4 passes his junior year, once again, he contemplated quitting football.
He called me and he said, Mom, I want to quit football. I don't want to do this anymore. And I just listened to him.
Kind of went at it on the phone, and she told me, stop being a baby and suck it up. And I hung up on her.
I mean, my heart dropped. So what I did was I texted him, sent him a picture of his baby brother. And I knew that would bring him around, to see the bigger picture.
Finally came to the conclusion that I was going to stick it out. Mostly it was not wanting to let my little brother down. I kind of put my nose down. I stopped talking to people. I kind of just isolated myself again. I was like, I know I can do this. I've always had a chip on my shoulder, but in that moment, I think that's when the chip became a boulder.
Seattle, Washington, you're a long way from home, but let's hope this is your home for a long time.
I hope so.
Practice over for this Sunday, and the sun is out. It's beautiful. You see Justin Forsett signing some autographs there, as many of the players do, after the practices attended by the fans. A couple thousand out here again today on this Sunday. Let's take a look at our headlines. Another big crowd on this Sunday, 2,319 at training camp today. Wide receiver Mike Williams was back out there for a full practice. The Seahawks made some changes at the linebacker spot for this season. They re-signed Leroy Hill, then moved David Hawthorne to the middle after Lofa-Tatupu left. They also drafted K.J. Wright in the 4th round out of Mississippi State and Malcolm Smith in the 7th round out of USC.
They got talent, man. They got talent. I think the upsides, the minus man guys did a good job picking rookies, rookie linebackers or whatever. Malcolm, speed, coverage, just ball skills. You know what I'm saying? And KJ, he's taking over the middle. You know what I'm saying? With the second team, he's running it just like Heater would. You know what I'm saying? He still got, obviously he's not Heater yet. He's a rookie, and he's still got a long way to go. But I mean, as in controlling the defense and everything, he's jumped right in.
I'm very excited about Malcolm. He's, again, he's played in our system before at USC, so you might see a little more flashes of him early on because he's very familiar with what we're doing. But he's showing his speed, athleticism, making plays. And KJ is, you see how big he is. He's 6'3", 248 pounds. He's learning how to use his body and put his body on the offensive lineman. And I'm really pleased with our guys. And I think the future of the Seahawks looks real bright.
Leroy Hill is one of only 2 players still remaining from the 2005-2006 Super Bowl team, and the veteran is having a great camp.
Yeah, everything running smooth, man. Everything running a lot smoother than I really thought it was, with how much time we had off and everything. But I think a lot of guys working hard in the offseason, which, we knew the lockout was going to end eventually. Yeah. So, I think everybody was in their respectable cities doing their thing. And, I know I was and everything. So we hopped right in. And, it was a little rust we had to knock off, but everything going smooth now.
In his second year as linebackers coach, Ken Norton Jr. is working with Leroy for the first time.
I've been waiting for almost a year and a half now to coach him. I've been hearing all these great things about how he played and how tough he was and what he brought to the group. And finally, it's true. He is as good as they say they are, and he's a real pleasure to coach.
As a player, Norton was as tough and talented as they came. As a coach under Pete Carroll at USC, and now with the Seahawks, he's the same way.
I learned early on in my coaching, I have to approach the game the same way I play it. And the players, a lot of times, they end up being like the coach. So if I can get my players to be hardworking, emotional, fiery, I'm very happy. Those are good intangibles and good characteristics for linebackers.
You can see that in the way Norton coaches, always talking, always pushing, always testing. This is called the linebacker shoot drill.
They have to play this game at a low level, and I like to have the run low, the pass drops low, and now the low man always wins. So that gives them an idea of how low I want to play during the game. Now, if they can keep them that low and go out and play the game like that all day, then I know they have a good day.
That's true, but during the drill, it may not seem that way.
It is tough. I mean, it's according to how long he keep you in there. Yeah. So, if according to what kind of mood he in, he'll let you out early. But if he in a bad mood, you got a couple minutes under there. So, it's tough, but it teaches you to stay low.
I wouldn't say it was one of my favorites. That's Norton trying to kill us right there, get us ready for practice, warm us up, loosen up the hips, kind of forcefully.
So you've heard from the linebackers today. It should be and will be an exciting group to watch in this 2011 season. I'm Tony Ventrella, Seahawks.com. We'll see you again tomorrow.
There's Tavares Jackson. It's Tavares time.
Yeah, but the receiver is supposed to be on the field with him.
Did not have as an efficient a night. He would struggle a little bit. Sacked by Darryl Gamble, 13-yard loss.
That didn't help.
And then he sacked again. Ogembe Nwabo, 4-yard loss.
Ball's got to come out. Ball has to come out.
Well, he's still got some time. He's still got some time. Seahawks win this one 24-17.
His 6 for 11 40-yard performance last week against the Titans, facing former Vikings quarterback Tavares Jackson, who found himself feeling the heat for the second straight preseason game. He was sacked twice last time against the Chargers. You saw he was forced to throw the ball away there, pressured by Jared Allen. In the next possession, flushed out of the pocket. Scrimmages to pick up 4 plays later. Jackson hit by Brian Robinson as he throws the ball away. O-line clearly a work in progress. Vikings go 4 and out, so the Seahawks have the ball back, but not for long. Tavares Jackson's pass to Golden Tate tipped to Marcus Sherrills, who runs it all the way back for the 64-yard score. Jackson 63 yards. Fourth quarter, Seahawks looking for their first points of the game. Down 13-zip. Charlie Whitehurst helps them out. Finds Anthony McCoy for a 3-yard touchdown. He finishes the game 14 for 19 for 97 yards and a touchdown. Still not enough. Mini wins 27.
Swag? Swag on three. We go swag on three. 1, 2, 3. Swag. Let go now. Baby. All day. All day. Together. Let me hit you, baby. Let me hit you. Finish, baby. We off the end of the day, man. We gonna fly around and have fun. Let's ball like we know how, baby. Let's go.
Let's go, dog.
Hey, everybody get in, man. DB's on 3. 1, 2, 3.
They know. Let's go. Hey, let's get this thing. Hey, let's go. Hey, come on.
Get on in here.
Let's go now. Let's go.
Hey, go to play, baby.
Hey, get on in here. Hey, Robert Gaddis said it best the other night, baby. We done enough talking. Today we showed him that's what we all about, baby. For 60 minutes, baby. 60 minutes. Seahawks on 3. Let's get it, baby.
Let's go.
1, 2, 3, Seahawks.
Time to play ball. Enough talking. Time to play ball. That's it.
Flying high today. You know what time it is. We back here at home. It's time to show everybody. It's November time. This is when the ballers play. Ballers come out in November and make plays. Stay tuned to watch what I said.
Go hard and go home. That's all we about. Go hard and go home, man. Gotta get back on top. Another Sunday, another opportunity to get a chance to compete. That's all we ask for.
Go out there and have something you'll be proud of that you do today. Play great. And playing great for you is just doing what you do. That's all I'm asking you to do today. Let's give us a chance, all right? Beast mode. Put it in mode today, baby. Inspire us today. Running hard, blocking hard, doing what we do right here today. All right? Let's be difference makers today. Let's be difference makers.
Have an impact,
all right,
man. Have an impact, man.
Let's go.
Let's get a break, man.
Let's go. We moving all day. You hitting everything that moves, all right? Your hands are rolling. Your head is rolling, all right? We unstoppable. Let's not go back on Monday and say, damn, we should have did this. Damn, we should have did that. Let's do this now, man. Let's go, man. It's a lot to it, man. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. 1, 2, 3.
Lead the person next to you. Let's go. Look at him in his eye and tell him, let's go. Let's go to work. Let's go to work. Let's go to work today. Let's go. Let's go to work today. Let's go. Work on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Setback is Lynch again. Play fake. Jackson tucks it. Turns. Throws left side. Lynch far side. He's in the open 40. 35 down the sideline. 30. Steps out of bounds. Play fake on second down. Jackson, look out. Throws the ball. He's got Lynch crossing the field. Down to the 15. Down to the 10. Turns upfield. He's diving for the end zone and run out of bounds. Chased out of bounds inside the 1-yard line. First and less than a foot. Miller in motion. Lynch left side. Touchdown, Seahawks! Marshawn Lynch pounding over the left guard.
Hey, Marshawn, I see you part.
Hey, man. All that damn pirouetting and ballerinas. Just doing your little front flips or some get in their zone.
You're trying to be a leading rusher and receiver today, huh?
High end over end, and Reed's going to come up 2 yards deep, and he's going to bring it out across the 10, 15. Runs into a pile. Fumble! Seahawks have the ball!
Who hit him?
Somebody hit him.
He ran his own man.
Somebody was driving him.
Anything you want deep, 25 cannot cover.
So,
Detroit, deep
okay.
Third down and 9. Here comes the blitz. Jackson's got to scramble left side, looking for some place to throw the ball. Throws downfield. Got a man, Baldwin. He's got it down to the 30. Run out of bounds at the 25-yard line. What a throw across his body, rolling to the left. A 50-yard play.
Did you see me come out the break?
I'm like, all up on, I couldn't get the ball.
This guy got that person too. Is that what it was? Because then you end up getting the ball, and then once you got it out.
Because he was grabbing on me, I had to try to take away from him.
He had jumped off.
He ran a hell of a route too.
Wait till you see the basic.
On the what? Well,
Cover zero. I know.
Zero. I wish he, then you'd love to have it both guys running arrow, because then you go into the corners.
Now, he was waiting. If the ball's in there, he's like this. I just gave him a head fake that way. So I ain't faked somebody out that bad since high school. If it would have been on time, literally he wasn't around me for 5 minutes.
Be ready for the counter, especially the right-hand side, okay? But keep playing and keep going. They will have that in game plan, so let's go. Hey, keep eating, man. Let's go, man. Let's go. Another one.
Hit on 3. 1, 2, 3. Come on, Mike.
Here's the kick, end over end. 5 yards deep is Reed, out across the 5, 10, 15, tripped up. Ball's out again. It's still out. I think maybe the Seahawks got it again. Let's see.
I think Michael Robinson has it.
Unbelievable, the Seahawks special teams today. And the Seahawks do.
Hey, in the red zone fringe area, a lot of stick nines. I was playing so aggressive. Red zone fringe area.
Okay, here we go. Check this out. Check this out here. Here we go. He came in a bunch. He came out, went back in, went for the out route, went up.
Hey, crease route right now. Check this out. Exactly how we prepared for it. Jet, right? Jet. Close to the core. Stack close to the core, and jet has been the crease route. Just like we prepared for it. Here, they came out of tricks. 81 here at Z. They took a running back, non-athlete, and put him outside of him. Double follow. Everything that we're prepared for, fellas, they're going to do it. They're going to do it. So we got to be sharp now. Remember, recognize the formation and understand the concept. We're going to be all over. We're on par, all right? Let's just stay on top of these guys. And they're doing all the same stuff that we prepared for, all right? So let's just stay on top of it. Be all over it. Hey, good job though, off and inside, and you're ranging. So just you have to go to the court, regardless of where we know. 2 and 2, we know it's solid left. But the Mike closed it right. We got to play the coach.
Go to Salmon strong safety. Salmon strong safety. You guys, come on, come on. Don't give him another look. That's 2 shots they had. Let's stay on top. Come on, come on.
Wide receivers to either side. Bolden near side. Ball tipped up. It's intercepted. It's Hawthorne near side 30, 25. He could go. Flacco chasing him, and he drags him down. Joe Flacco. Now there's a late flag. I think it's going to be a horse collar tackle as Flacco drags Hawthorne down. And oh, the big plays by the Seahawks today.
Yeah, it's all day. Let's go, man. Let's go.
Hey, turn it up.
He didn't walk it really, man. He had the horse collar. Horse collar, man. I was deciding what I was going to burn. I don't think he's going to knock.
Hands up, man.
Hey, bro, that's sad.
You know he tipped it, right?
Yeah. We good teamwork, baby. Teamwork. I was going to burn out on that dude, though. I was looking at Rice, though. I was looking at Rice. I ran by him and grabbed him on my horse collar.
Hey, I told you I was on one. I told you I was on one today. I'm on it. I'm on another one. Defense! Defense! Let's go! Everybody up! Everybody up! Everybody up! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go!
Right now, we want to stay on top now.
Let's go!
Make them go the long, hard way. It takes too long.
Let's finish! Let's finish! Let's finish, boys! Let's finish! Let's finish! Let's go!
Let's finish it, fellas. All right? It's going to come down to it. Keep your composure. Play your technique. Stay on top. We will finish it now. All right? It's going to come down to it. Let's just make sure we're on it. Let's be on it.
Empty backfield. 4 receivers. Flacco goes down. A delayed blitz by Malcolm Smith, who gets there in a heartbeat. The rookie out of USC with today's first sack on Joe Flacco.
That's my team. Way to stand up. Way to stand up. Take a bow.
The clock will continue to tick, but both teams head to the middle of the field. And what a battle this has been.
Start to a new season, baby. We're trying to go undefeated. Yes, sir. We're trying to go undefeated.
Yes, sir. Oh, man, I feel amazing. I told you we needed it. I told you we needed it.
It was a straight dog fight, man, but we came out on top, man. Now let's forward to the next game.
That's what we needed. Got to keep this thing rolling in the second half. Finally get that monkey off our back.
That feels awesome. W's, yes.
That's tough. We just saw it last Thursday where you had San Francisco traveling all the way across to an Eastern time zone. Now you got Philly coming all the way back to Seattle playing against the 12th man. 2 4-7 teams that are just scrambling to get a win, right? Very important. And you know, Pete Carroll will have that team ready over there.
So you're saying the Eagles won't do it?
No, I think they're going to do it. But
you think
it's going to be a hard
Oh, no,
win.
you didn't know that's Andy Reid, man.
Hey,
he ain't fair. Well, you can't
I know Pete Carroll, too.
I'm an Andy Reid guy, too. So
Yeah.
you can't be on the fence. Yeah, Andy Reid was one.
Seattle's already beaten the Giants and Baltimore, all right? They can play now. Every now and then they can play.
If you can't get charged up and play your best football at home, what makes me think you're going to travel across the country to the Great Northwest and play against a team that you said already beat the Giants and Baltimore?
Yeah.
And you saying Philly going to right the ship?
And they do something pretty good that the Eagles not really good at.
Run the ball.
Run the ball.
Down your throat. So I'm going to take Seattle in the game.
I have to agree with you because traveling across that country against a ball club that likes to run the ball, it turns into, do you want
your
something?
manhood's tested.
Exactly. That's exactly
Your
what it comes
manhood
down
is
to. And in this new NFL, when you don't get a chance to actually prepare for what's coming at you week in and week out, with the physicality of the game, it's a prime opportunity for Marshawn Lynch and Seahawks to just go through them.
Hey, we let one slip last week, baby. We let one slip. But we back out here today, baby. We ain't gonna let that bitch go. Y'all already know what we think, baby. Nobody believe in us, baby. Who's out? Who's out? Who's out? Who's out? Let's get a break, baby. See y'all 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, Seahawks. Let's go, bro.
Let's see if they keep that streak going with a pass on the first play of the ball game. Young on the scramble, fires, and it's picked off by Cam Chancellor. They shouldn't have thrown a pass on the first play of the game. Kill him. First and goal back at the 15. Lynch not going to get anything. Well, maybe second effort. Touch the back of it, and he's in. Touchdown. 8th straight game that he scored a touchdown. I don't know how he came out the backside of that pile. What a run.
He was trapped. He was stopped. He kept those legs driving. 8 straight games in which he scored a touchdown.
First down. Seahawks at the Eagles 40. Lynch cuts outside. He might be gone. He is. Touchdown. Ever since high school, Marshawn Lynch's mom always gave him a pack of Skittles that he eats during the game after touchdowns. Well, there you go. Skittles time. You're never too old for Skittles.
He behind you, riding your back, and you jump for an easy pick. You know what I'm saying? Just have third down awareness, easy money.
Jackson was in motion toward the ball. Young got blasted as he threw, and it's intercepted off the hands of Cooper, and it's Brandon Browner coming the other way. Got a convoy in front of him. All the way to the 30-yard line. 3rd and 5. Jackson lobs to the end zone. Caught. Touchdown. Golden Tate. They act like it's the second quarter. It's not. It's Young. Oh, it's intercepted. That might be the ball game. David Hawthorne. He's gone. Might be all she wrote on the Eagles season. Young rolls long for Cooper, and this one's intercepted by Browner again with a hurdle job at midfield. What a night for that young man. And the former Calgary Stampeder has just stampeded all over Vince Young's night.
Sports Center, top 10, hurdle.
This format really has been going for a while now. It's not just tonight. You know, we're finally in the plus category as a team. You know, we're +4 now, which is a really, I mean, that's the whole philosophy is about the football. And to see that coming right here in the middle of the year, well, let's finish with it, see what happens. 173 yards rushing is a big night. Shine goes for 148.
so tough after a loss like that to find anything positive to say, but I feel like if anyone can say anything positive, it's St. Nick. So, St. Nick, one thing positive from today's game, just one.
Next year. It really is about next year. It's too bad. I mean, we had a chance, but it's really about next year and how we're going to do next year. I think we're looking really good. We started out bad the first of the year. Now we're going to come into it. Next year we're going to look really good.
We played a great game, great year, a great comeback year, and we have nothing to look forward to but next year and be an absolute winning team, and we will win the NFC West next year, baby!
We've done a lot of progressing throughout this season. I mean, game to game, you can just tell that we're getting better as a football team. Got some players that need to mature, and hopefully just work on the fundamentals, getting out there every day, working on what we need to work on, and just see what we can get it done next season.